Hi guys. I have not done a live video on my personal Facebook page in a while, and I don't know, I just felt an inkling to do one. So here we go. I not really sure where to start actually. I wanted to talk about this Women's March thing for a little bit. Um, and you can either listen or not, freedom of choice. But I've kind of been disappointed, to say the least, of some of the things that have been on my news feed from friends, some really close to me, and some not so much, and that's fine. But I don't know whether this is genuinely a I don't like these people that are marching thing, or an uneducated thing as to you don't quite understand why people are marching. So I thought I would give you an input, at least for me, and why I marched yesterday and why I made that decision and what it means to me. And you can take it or leave it. It is what it is. So any of you that know me know that I am not some hardcore feminist. I'm not like, women should be greater than men. I'm not, anything like that. I feel like women should be respected the same as men. I feel like women should have the same rights. Um, and we've come a long way. For the most part, women in our country are a million times better than women in other countries. But is that what we want to settle for? No, which is why a lot of women were marching yesterday. Um, Women were marching for a variety of reasons. I particularly marched for a variety of reasons. I marched for my boys. Um, I marched for my boys because I'm raising them to be men and not men that think that it's okay to say the things that our president has said, that it's okay to treat women the way our president has treated women. Not I'm raising them to know how to treat women and how to treat people and how to love people. So I marched for them. I marched for myself. Um, I marched for my friends who are gay and have received an incredible amount of hate. I marched for my husband and the entire African American community. I marched for Native Americans. I marched for Hispanics. I marched for people of all different religious backgrounds. I marched for education, equal education. I marched for my friends who have children with special needs and are living in a world where their children are mocked because of things that they have no control over, that their children are told to just suck it up, and that they're not. Our current department, our executive for education, says that these children are not pushing hard enough. They need to work harder when some of these things are out of their control. So I marched for those children too. I marched for every single woman that has ever been a victim of verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse. I marched for all of them. I marched for unity, because our country needs a lot of that right now. I marched for peace and respect and dignity, and in an effort to say that, to stand up, to speak up, and to truly be the change. And, I have been mocked about it and said, well, what is marching down the road going to do? Well, yesterday I wasn't able to make it to Charlotte or Washington. When you have two little ones, sometimes, things get in the way, and when your husband has a fractured ankle. But I marched here in Mooresville, where I live, and I marched with women who were my age all the way up to like mid 80s. Women were there with canes, men were there with canes, there were children there, and I walked with some pretty phenomenal people. People that had all kinds of stories to tell about where they have been, um, how far we've come, and how they don't ever want to go back, and how they are pretty fed up with the fact that they were still marching for some of the things they marched for years and years and years ago. But where we were marching was off of Brawley School Road, and those who are local to me know that towards the point and stuff, that area is particularly known for some of the more elite people in Morrisville, so to speak. And I would say out of the entire 6 miles that we walked yesterday, 95% of it was amazing. We only had a couple people call names and cuss and act stupid. The majority of people driving by, going in and out of the point, honked their horns and waved and hollered and, supported in solidarity, saying, hey, we get it. Like, we support you. And that in itself spoke volumes to me. So I marched for all of those reasons. So I think it's important when you're on your Facebook feed and you're criticizing women for marching and you're criticizing people for standing up, and you're criticizing them and saying, that they don't know what they're doing or they don't know what this or that, ask yourself, what are you doing? Ask yourself if you're willing to settle for what's going on. Yes, Trump is our president. And yes, we have to accept it because that's the reality. But does that mean that everyone just goes back to sitting on their couch watching TV, not caring about anything? Because I promise you, each and everything that is going to happen over the next 4 years will affect you in some way. And like I was talking to someone the other day, and they were like, well, I just don't understand. You guys need to just get over it, suck it up, whatever. And I'm like, do you understand? Like, for starters, do you realize that the cabinet is made up of our vice president and 15 executives for different departments? The people that our president has picked for those executive departments to head those up, it's scary. And if you don't know who they are and you don't know what they represent and who they support and what they support, then I really encourage you to research. And don't just depend on what your friends share on Facebook from a mommy blog or from, left-wing media or right-wing media or whatever. Like, research on both sides. Like, I tend to follow more liberal pages and more conservative pages because I cross-reference things to see what is actually true. And that's kind of how I form my opinion, is I actually follow both pages so that I kind of know, okay, well, what's real and what's not real, because it's hard to know. But I guess I'm just a little disappointed in the fact that so many people yesterday were out, so many women, men, kids, everything were out marching and protesting and doing it in the most peaceful way possible. And yet there are so many ugly things being said about it. And, it makes me wonder, like, what's the right way to stand up for what's being done that's wrong? What's the right way to say, hey, like, this isn't right and I don't want to accept it. I don't want to accept it for myself, my kids, my family, my community, my country. Like, what's the right way? So to those of you who are constantly posting on your walls and saying, get over it and suck it up and accept this and accept that, if this is all okay with you and you truly feel you have no voice and it's easier for you to sit behind your computer and lash out at people who do care and who are speaking up, then that's your personal choice. And that's on you. My personal choice is not to sit back and not to just accept these things. So, I will speak up and I'll do these things. I started this with my Shades of Love program last year. And I did a video about how all of the racial stuff around my community affected my family specifically. And just within a couple of hours, like 48 hours or so to be specific, like over 4,000 people had seen that video. And I had multiple people message me and tell me how much, like, it opened their eyes to see from a different perspective. Um, and that's mainly the only reason why I decided to do this live video, was to give that other perspective, that a lot of these women that were marching yesterday, granted there was millions and millions and millions of people marching, not just here, not just in the US, not just in Washington, but all over the world. And a big chunk of them were marching for like a huge variety of reasons. So try to understand that before you start like getting on your soapbox and saying, you know, that these women need to go back and sit down. I had one person yell at me yesterday and say, you guys need to just go back into the kitchen where you belong. Like, really? Um, that's not what I expect. I expect that, you know, I want my boys to know that they respect women and that they should, you know, treat women no differently than, you know, they would want to be treated, and that at the end of the day, it just all, in my opinion, it just all boils down to just being kind to people. Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, whether you're black or white or Hispanic or Asian or Native American, it all boils down to the fact of just being kind. Like, and I just, for the life of me, I cannot understand why that is so difficult. Like, if you don't want to protest, if you don't like what people are doing, then fine, don't do it. If you don't like what people say, then don't listen. But when it comes to our president, you have to listen, because at the end of the day, if you have children, if you have medical insurance, if you, like, if you are a first-time home buyer, like, there are so many things that are changing, and all of it is going to affect you in some way or another. So just because you say, I'm going to support my president because I want him to do the best job possible, that does not mean that these things won't affect you. It doesn't mean you're exempt from the things that he's doing. It doesn't mean that you're exempt from, you know, going out and having drinks with a friend and a man mistaking your smile for an invitation to, you know, do whatever he pleases with you, and then say, oh, it was just for fun, or, oh, it was, you know, I was just, you know, doing what I thought I wanted to do. Like, it doesn't excuse any of it. You're not safe from any of it just because you agree with him, or just because you think that locker room talk is something that all men do. I am married to a man that would never talk like that about women in any shape, form, or fashion. He was raised by a single mama who taught him better. So don't give me this crap about how all men talk like that or all men think like that. They don't. A good chunk of them do, but not all of them do. And my boys most definitely will not. And I just, like, people wonder how we got here. And I've made a post about it the other day. Our society cares more about the Kardashians. They care more about reality TV and The Bachelor and all this stuff. And don't get it wrong, I've been known to watch my Bachelor. I think it's hilarious. But people know more contestants on The Bachelor than they know about the departments that run our country. They know more about reality TV than they know how to get in touch with their senators and their representatives. They know more about which YouTube channels to follow that mock people and make fun of people than they know how to reach out to people to make a change and stand up for things. That is how we got here. Trump wasn't voted in office because the American people wanted him there. He's a product of what happens when people stop caring. And it's not going to get any better if you keep going with these Facebook wars and fighting back and forth and calling people names and all of this stuff. It's never going to change. And he would get elected again if things don't change. And I mean, that's a scary thing. So for me, it's not a political thing. It's not a, oh, well, you know, he doesn't change what happens in my house thing. It's a just human decency and humanity thing. And it's a stop for lack of better, well, stop being mean on Facebook and get off your butt and go do something kind. Go do something nice. Go do something that sets the bar high and says, hey, look, just because our president says and does things that are not very nice does not mean that I'm going to, and it doesn't mean that it's going to affect my family or my way of living. Stop hiding behind Facebook and get out and do something about it. Which is why a lot of people marched yesterday. So, stop mocking people. Stop being mean to people. Stop judging people for things you don't understand. I have said it a million times. If you don't understand why I feel so passionately about the things that I feel passionate about, call me. Come by my house. I will gladly sit down and chat with you. I will gladly open my ears and I will listen to your perspective. I will talk to you about why I feel the way I feel, and I will engage in that conversation. But if you have no interest in hearing both sides of a story, then those are your own personal issues. And you can't expect things to ever get better if you aren't willing to be open-minded and open your heart to the possibility that there are things out there that are going on that inside your bubble you may not see. So, I guess after all of that, because I can type so good, but I am a horrible speaker and I go off on my tangents and I end up getting emotional. But at the end of the day, I guess my main point would be stop judging people for being passionate about change. Stop being so mean to people who truly care about our country and they're trying to make a stand to say, look, we are not going to tolerate this type of hate and divide. No, Trump didn't create this divide. Obama didn't create this divide. Bush didn't create this divide. We created this divide. And the only way we're going to fix it is for us to fix it. It's not his job to fix it. It wasn't Obama's job to fix it. It's our job to fix it. So my one piece of advice would be to get off your computer and get off your phone and get out into your community and do something. Get on your community boards. Meet with your mayor. Meet with your senators. Send some letters. Do something. Meet with people that you know nothing about and learn something about them. Be nice and be kind. And for God's sake, stop thinking that just because things don't affect you, that it doesn't affect everyone else. Because it does. And make yourself proud. Make your future self look back at you now and be proud of the things that you're doing. Because part of why I work so hard and part of why I push so hard is because I want my boys to grow up and look back and know that their mom was not afraid. Their mom wasn't a victim. And their mom did not sit back and take bullshit from people, regardless of who they were or what standing they had. That she stood up for them, and she stood up for herself, and she stood up for her family. And I want them to do the same and know that they have every single right in this world as anybody else. And that, any child has anything that, any dream, any aspiration that they want to do, they should be able to do it, and no one should hold them back. So this isn't even a presidential thing. This isn't even a political thing. This is a human being, humanity, respect thing. So it's a new year. We're almost done with the first month. There's 11 more months. Stop making excuses. Get out of your comfort zone and be the change. Just be the change.